Get your popcorn, boys and girls. My name is Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. The show is presented, as it always is, by Oddshark. Go to Oddshark for all of your gambling and informational related needs. Come rolling into my universe because I got my murdering shoes on, and before all is said and done, ESPN's going to be holding their throat rolling around in a pool of its own blood. It ain't good to mess with me, especially not when you mess with a guy who's better at arguing than your entire damn network all put together. I am Clay Travis, and if you haven't heard, ESPN came at the king and missed today. There's a big article up in Sports Business Journal, which is kind of the default media coverage of business and sports and everything else. And it's a big article about all of ESPN's problems. And ESPN just hit a 10-year low in viewership. They have lost 13 million subscribers in the past 6 years or so. They are hemorrhaging viewers. They are hemorrhaging subscribers. And they have decided to embark on this crazy left-wing liberal perspective. And so I'm going to read you some of these quotes. Today, one of their top executives fired back at me at Outkick. And a lot of it was just, this is not going to surprise you, entirely factually inaccurate. And what I try to do is, I do something crazy here. I try to look at facts and tell you what facts actually are. So I want you guys to listen closely to me. You can share it with your friends. You may hate me. You may not agree with what I say. You may think that I'm an awful human being. But what I try to do every single day on the radio from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern and on my website and on this show on Periscope and Facebook Live is be 100% honest with you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to respond to ESPN's attacks. MSESPN came after me, and I'm going to respond to their attacks in kind. I'm going to read you their quotes. You can go read my response at Outkick.com, and you will know exactly what the truth is because I'm 100% honest. I've yet to be caught that I'm aware of in any lie that I've ever written about or been involved in anything that I've done at Outkick. So I am telling you the truth. And so let's go to the quotes. This is a big quote. ESPN, my headline is ESPN says they aren't liberal. This is the real life truth. ESPN says they aren't liberal because Hank Williams Jr. sings the Monday Night Football Open. That's the real argument they made. But before we get there, let's dive into a couple of these details. Here is a quote from one of their top executives. The whole narrative that ESPN is liberal is a false one that was seeded and perpetuated primarily by a direct business competitor. We have no political agenda whatsoever. First of all, it's not true. ESPN has a clear political agenda, and they have decided to become MSESPN, the leader of left-wing sports broadcasting. That's fine. MSNBC doesn't decide to sponsor SportsCenter because there is no political agenda whatsoever. If you don't remember, you can go look at it. Go to Outkick.com, look at our top article. SportsCenter is now sponsored by MSNBC. Second, no one at Fox Sports has ever instructed me to have any opinion whatsoever about any subject ever in my entire time there. Moreover, look at these logos. What do you see? This show's presented by Oddshark. You see Outkick. Do you know what you don't see? Fox Sports. Because this is, and the executive at ESPN knows this, which is why I think it's sad that he's making up stories like this. I'm not employed by Fox Sports. I make $0 now from Fox Sports. I don't make a single dollar from anybody at Fox Sports. Outkick is 100% independent and represents about 75 or 80% of my overall income. So I am not in any way carrying water for anybody but my own opinions. I am 100% employed exclusively by myself when it comes to Outkick content. And so everything, we may have an issue over here. It froze. Am I back up? Am I good? Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if it's working. Did ESPN try and take me down? Did they try and take me down? All right. This is it back? Okay, it's back. I don't know. Are we still good on Facebook? Is everything good on Facebook? All right, we're back up and running. Okay, all is good. ESPN tried to get me down. Those Russians at ESPN, you know how they are, always trying to hack people. Okay, everything is back up and running now. Okay, let me go back in and explain. I'm not employed by Fox. I am not employed by Fox at all. So if you have an issue with my opinions, That's 100% fine. You're entitled to have whatever issue you want with my opinions. But they're 100% mine. They are 100% me. Nobody else has an issue whatsoever with me. All right? That is 100% the truth. Okay? And so they know that. They know that Outkick is 100% independent. They know because I said in a face-to-face conversation with one of these top executives, in fact, the guy who was quoted, Burke Magnus, hey, I'm 100% independent. If you have an issue with me, it's not coming from Fox Sports. It's coming from me. So they're trying to make it seem like it's coming from Fox Sports. Okay? That's the truth. It's not true at all. I'm 100% independent. Now, I am on Fox Sports Radio. But Fox Sports Radio is just a licensing agreement. They aren't actually Fox Sports. My paycheck for Fox Sports Radio comes from iHeart. I'm employed by iHeart, not by Fox Sports. I get, this is not an exaggeration, $0 from anyone at Fox Sports right now. I control everything in terms of my ad sales for these shows and also for my website. I own it all, okay? I never was employed by Fox Sports in a traditional sense because if you really want to know the nitty-gritty, I just had a licensing agreement. I wrote whatever I wanted, and they sold my ads. Now I'm in charge of all ads. I wanted to be back in charge of everything. I wanted to control every ad across the board, and now I do. So I am not in any way an employee of Fox Sports. So that's a lazy argument. ESPN should know better. If you're going to attack me on the merits of my claim. Don't try and attack me and claim that I'm some sort of puppet for some other media entity. My arguments all come directly from me. Furthermore, no Fox executive, and I know all of them, and I know all of them well, has ever referenced ESPN being liberal to me as an indication that I should make that argument. This is all 100% me. That's why I have editorial independence. That's why, and here's the truth, I turned down my own television show on FS1 this spring. Back in March, I got offered my own show. Could have my own show. I had to move to LA, and I would have my own television show on FS1. I turned it down. You can say I'm an idiot for doing that. You can say my guy Clay Travis is a buffoon. You can make all those arguments, but I chose to go it on my own, okay? I chose to stay in Nashville. My family's happy, making a good living. I'm 100% comfortable here. One day maybe TV will work out. One day I think an exec will come to me and say, hey, all we want is the 100% honest truth that you put out every day on the radio and on Outkick, the radio show, and on Outkick Periscope and Outkick Facebook Live. But until that happens, I'm not going to be willing to uproot my family. And honestly, I want to do it all from Nashville. So I had an opportunity to take over my own show. It's something that most people will work their whole lives and never get. I could have had a daily show on FS1, and I turned it down because I've got a good lifestyle here. I make good money. I'm confident without where Outkick is going. So that's the truth. And everybody will speak to that at Fox. So I was the ultimate don't be a pussy. I walked the walk and I talked the talk. I could have taken a job, gone out to LA, had my own show. I said, no, I like what I'm doing now. I'm comfortable with my Periscope. I'm comfortable with my daily morning show. I'm comfortable with my website. I'm comfortable with Periscope. This thing is going to be huge, and I don't need to do anything different than what I'm doing now. So that's the truth. That's the truth. So ESPN attempting to come after me and say, oh, Clay Travis is saying this because he's being told to say this is a joke. Furthermore, additional statements. It would be foolish in the business that we're in to take sides in the political arena. Our business competitor perpetuates this narrative because in this highly partisan time, it suits them to highlight this distinction even when it doesn't exist. Now, what they're doing here is they're insulting you. They're saying that the reason why you believe that ESPN has gone left-wing and liberal is because I'm perpetuating it because I'm being paid to do it somehow. And in reality, that you can't make your own determination by sitting down and watching your own show. Okay? That's the truth. That's what they're saying. They're saying you are not intelligent enough in the general public to make a decision about whether ESPN has gone left-wing, whether giving Caitlyn Jenner an ESPY for courage, whether saying Michael Sam is the equivalent of Jackie Robinson, whether saying that Colin Kaepernick is basically Nelson Mandela. All those things are not left-wing. That's just your imagination. You are just imagining what is going on at ESPN. Clay Travis and his ilk are out here convincing you of things that are fundamentally untrue. They are not being honest with you. I am. That's why you can trust me. That's why you can't trust ESPN. I actually, unlike them, trust the intelligence of my viewership and my audience. I don't believe that I can convince you guys of things that aren't true. All I do is sit down in front of this television screen on Periscope and Facebook, sit down in front of the microphone on the morning show. All I do is tell you exactly what I think every minute of every day. You can agree or disagree with me. You guys know we have open phone lines. Lots of people disagree with my opinions. But the idea that because I say it, you're going to believe it is frankly an insult to you. It's what ESPN believes. That's what ESPN said in that article. Furthermore, ESPN executives say the people who focus on a liberal bias ignore things like the recent rehiring of Hank Williams Jr. to sing the Monday Night Football opening. Holy shit, that's a real argument. ESPN is arguing that they aren't liberal because they hired an entertainer with conservative political thought to do a 2-minute intro to Monday Night Football. Last time I checked, they're not giving Hank Williams Jr. a show to say whatever he wants about sports, to come out and say that Colin Kaepernick's a damn idiot, to come out and say that he doesn't believe that Michael Sam is a hero because he likes to have sex with gay dudes. But they let him sing his own song in the intro, and that proves that they aren't liberal. Oh, man. Boy, does that ever prove that ESPN's not liberal. They have Hank Williams Jr. for 2 minutes on Monday Night Football. That's the legit argument they made about the fact that they're not actually conservative. They said, no. Do you guys not see that we have Hank Williams Jr. singing the intro to Monday Night Football? That's their argument for the fact that they aren't liberal. That's what ESPN rolled with. What's your argument that you're not liberal? Well, we got this dude, Hank Williams Jr., and for 2 minutes, 15 weeks out of the year, we trot him out to sing Are You Ready for Some Football? And by God, that proves that we are not a liberal network, because no liberal network would ever put somebody on who says, are you ready for some football? Because that is triggering words. That is hardcore conservative thought that Hank Williams Jr. is putting out there. When he's got that guitar in his hand and he's strumming, it's basically the same thing as saying, hey, I'm a huge Donald Trump fan. He might as well be wearing Trump shaved across his chest. He might as well be dancing around in a Make America Great hat. Give me a fucking break. They actually think that you're that dumb. Oh, we're not liberal. We've got this conservative guy who's on for a total of 30 minutes on a network all year long, and that guy proves that we aren't liberal. Give me a fucking break. And then they continue. This is crazy. ESPN executives dismiss the notion the company is too liberal. President John Skipper, himself a liberal-leaning executive, and they just hired a new number 2, and guess what that number 2 said? He said Donald Trump discriminates against gays, lesbians, minorities, and women, even though Donald Trump is the first president in the history of America to be elected on a platform of gay rights. Like, do people not pay attention to that? I mean, I think it's crazy. Like, Donald Trump, on his platform, has the most liberal platform about gay rights in the history of America. You know who didn't believe in gay marriage when he got elected? Barack Obama. You know who didn't believe in gay marriage when she ran for president? Hillary Clinton. You know who did? Donald Trump. I mean, I know it makes liberals' heads explode, but Donald Trump is actually the most liberal president in the history of our country when it comes to gay rights at the time that he was elected president. Period. That's what I'm saying. And anyway, John Skipper, incredible liberal. They just promoted a guy, number 2, who has been all over the internet ripping Donald Trump and how awful he thinks Republicans are. And John Skipper made a point to meet with employees to let them know nobody at ESPN will be punished for holding a political viewpoint. Except Kurt Schilling. When Kurt Schilling said that he didn't want transgender people to be using the bathroom in his own private time, and ESPN fired him for that, that wasn't permissible. When Chris Broussard came on and said that because of his religious beliefs, he thought that homosexuality was a sin, that wasn't allowed. They apologized. You can only be praised for political opinions at ESPN. They promote consistently liberal thought. That's fine. That's their right. But don't try and tell me that you're not doing exactly what you are doing. ESPN just got owned in this article. I would encourage you to go read it at Outkick. Outkick.com, the top article. They tried to accuse me of being a puppet. They tried to say that I'm not being honest. And the reality is straightforward. You guys can all watch my show. You can listen to this show. You can go listen to every word that I've ever said. You might not agree with me, but I think the one thing you will consistently find is I'm not a lying hypocrite. I don't try and pull the wool over your eyes. Everything that I say to you, I say in my own private life. There's not a single thing that I have ever said in my evolution of what my political beliefs are that I wouldn't say at the bar, that I don't say on the radio, that I don't say on Periscope, that I don't say on Facebook. I'm 100% honest with you. Am I flawless? No. My hair is, but I'm not. Do I always make perfect, sound, consistent arguments? Kind of. Am I smarter than anybody that ESPN puts on the air? Yes. Would I win a debate over everybody at ESPN, even if they were tag teaming each other and coming at me on a stage head to head? Yes. I would destroy them. All right? Because I'm smarter than them, and because unlike them, I'm not liars trying to convince you of fundamental untruths. I'm just sitting down telling you exactly what I think every single day. I would encourage you to go read that article. If you like this show, which many of you do, go share this article. Go share this show. Listen to the show in the morning. We're adding affiliates left and right. Do you know why? Because in an age of inauthenticity in sports media, I'm the most authentic motherfucker there is on the planet. All right. What questions do you guys have about any questions? I came out straightforward. I gave you all the info. I make all my money off Outkick or off iHeart. $0 from Fox Sports. No reason for me to disclose that other than me just trying to be 100% honest with you guys. I don't hide from what I do. What questions do you guys have? Questions out there about this ESPN trying to attack me and me just ending them on Outkick today. I make a lot of money. I'm a seven-figure dude, all right? I make over $1 million a year. That's all you need to know. It's a good living. It's a good gig I got. Additional questions from you guys. What questions do you have about my response to ESPN? I'm going to answer them all. I'm not hiding. I'm not shirking. I'm not dodging. Unlike ESPN, I'm 100% honest. Both. I wouldn't work at ESPN. They've tried to hire me before. I wouldn't work anywhere where they would not let me be 100% honest. And I've said that before. My goal is to be 100% honest. I think I'm in the right. I think being 100% authentic in this day and age is the most important thing that I could have. And I'm not going to sell out. I literally had a choice. Do you want to sell out and have your own show on FS1? Or do you want to stay in Nashville and keep doing exactly what you want to do? And I chose not to sell out. Just about every other person in my position, if they got offered a television show on a network, would do whatever they needed to do to make that happen. I didn't. I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. My audience is growing. I like doing the radio. I love my bosses. Absolutely. I'm in love with Scott Shapiro and Don Martin. Never had better bosses in radio. We're growing that. It's going to be a dominant tidal wave of a force with all the affiliates that we're adding and everything that's going on there. So I'm being completely honest with you guys. I give you my opinion every day, and it's not coming from anybody else. There's nobody else out there like saying, oh, Clay, you should have this opinion. In fact, if anything, I get told the opposite. I get told more often than not from executives, you're too controversial. You create too much of a stir. You're too honest. Dial it back. That's what I get told. I don't get told, go after people more aggressively. I get told, hey, can you maybe just chill a little bit? You're too aggressive. That's the only thing I get. And my answer is always no, because I'm not being fakely aggressive. I'm doing exactly what I do every single day, which is sit down and try to be as honest as I can on the microphone and try to be as honest as I can on the website and try to be as honest as I can on Periscope and Facebook. So, yeah, I would destroy Skip Bayless. Come on. Is this a real story? I'm 30 years younger than him, and he's not a very good arguer. I would crush him in every topic under the sun. I would crush I'm not trying to brag. It's just the truth. I would crush every single person who's on television right now in a debate show. I'd also probably be funnier than them and got great hair. That's the truth. So, and people are like, oh, you're cocky, you're arrogant. No, it's not cocky or arrogant if you're the truth. I'm telling the truth. It's my generation. It's my era. My time is now, motherfuckers. And I'm out here dominating, slaying people left and right. Okay, questions. Additional questions, or I'm going to move on to a couple more stories. I'm going to move on to second story. This is a wild story. Actually, I'm going to do an ad for you first. Let me go ahead and do an ad before I forget. I want to do this ad. I want to tell you all about, want to create a family tradition of vacationing in Orlando every year for very little money? Visit magicalrealty.com. Find the vacation ownership that suits you best. Right now, you can own a Sheraton Vistana timeshare in Orlando for only $500 compared to the $18,000 the original owner paid. If owning isn't your thing, they specialize in rentals for Aruba, Orlando, and Hawaii. Contact Magical Realty to help you save big on your future vacations. Email them at info@magicalrealty.com. That's info@magicalrealty.com. Remember a couple months ago, I told you guys all this. This shouldn't be news that I'm 100% independent. I came on here and I said, I control all ad sales now. I am in charge of everything that goes on all my sites and on all my shows. If you want to advertise, you have to come to me directly. ClayTravis@gmail.com. Every advertiser has come to me directly. We haven't even gone out and pitched people. Every advertiser, we're almost sold out for the fall. They've come to me and said, I love what you do. I want my company associated with you. We feel like you're going to dominate and continue to grow. And I'm like, you're right, I will. And we feel like we want our brand to be connected with you. Makes total sense. ClayTravis@gmail.com. But everybody who watches this show knows that already. I told you. I said I'm taking over all ad sales. Only ads you see are going to be for products that I directly have agreed to. Nothing else. Across the board. And so that's what we're doing. And that's why we're dominating. Okay, did you guys see the story about California? This story in California is crazy to me. I can't believe that it is real. California has, I'm going to read from you again. This is another article up at Outkick. And I think most people are too dumb to understand what a big story this is. And so it hasn't gotten very much media attention. And you know, most people in the sports media aren't very smart. So it's why I've made so much money. And this is a complicated story. California now has banned state-sponsored travel. That's travel associated with state tax dollars to 8 different states. And those states are Alabama, Texas, South Dakota, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Mississippi, and Kansas. A lot of you are in those 8 states, particularly Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee, which are huge markets for us. North Carolina, all these states, with the exception of South Dakota, are big markets for Outkick. All right, so this is a crazy story. And they haven't banned, by the way, travel to like Saudi Arabia. They haven't banned travel to Nigeria. And the reason why they banned travel in these states is because they disagree with LBGTQ. Did I get them all in? I can't keep up. Lesbian, gay, transgender, whatever stuff you want to call it there. LBGTQ. They banned all travel because they disagree with individual state laws in all 8 of those states. Now, some of you may say, well, why do you care? And the reason why I became aware of this was a lot of smart Outkick people out there started to ask questions. And they started to pepper me with this legislation. They said, wait a minute. Cal is playing in North Carolina at UNC this year. Memphis is hosting UCLA. Last year, A&M hosted UCLA. This year, A&M's going to UCLA. Last year, UCLA traveled to Kentucky for basketball games. Fresno State is going to Bama this year. They said, wait, for a state-sponsored institution, are they allowed to travel and play sports in these 8 states? The answer is no. The answer is no, which is fucking insane. And I don't know if they didn't think about sports. I've got a call right now into the Attorney General's office in California. And that call is going to be basically like, hey, you guys realize that potentially you're trampling all over the principles of federalism. Potentially you have passed a law that is unconstitutional. And, oh, by the way, UCLA, Cal, Fresno State, all state institutions, UC Santa Barbara, UC Santa Cruz, whatever UCs you want to name, all the California state, oh, that's pretty funny on the LGBTQ ESPN. That's pretty good. What is crazy is all of those states, in theory, all those state institutions are now prohibited from playing games in all the states where the travel ban has been implemented. A lot of you are saying, holy shit. A lot of you may be in California watching this saying, holy shit, or listening to it. It's an unbelievable move. All right, and here's my position on politics in general. A lot of times politics impacts on sports. This is an example of not somebody trying to change something, okay? The people in California are not trying to change these legislations in all these individual states. They are trying to score political points in their home market by seeming holier than thou, by seeming like they are social justice warriors. The challenge here is this directly impacts interstate commerce. So I'm not sure if it's constitutional. I'm not sure if it's constitutional for states to restrict the travel for tax purposes, taxpayer-funded travel, associated with disagreements on legislation, right? That's the truth. That's the truth, 100%. That is undoubtedly the case, okay? Second, when you break down this overall situation, it raises all sorts of challenging questions. Among them, would UCLA Cal or any other state of California team be able to play in the NCAA tournament in 2018? Fascinating question. I don't know the answer. 4 of the 8 hosting sites for the NCAA tournament in 2018 are in the states that California has banned travel to. The national title playoff is also for football in Texas. So are you telling me that California did this without even thinking about the potential impact from a financial perspective of having to forfeit all these games? Or of a team like UCLA fighting their ass off to make the NCAA tournament, and then as soon as they make the NCAA tournament, not being able to play? How about playing in a bowl game in the state of Texas, or the Music City Bowl, or the Liberty Bowl, or any other of these locations, North Carolina? This is a massive deal that I think we need to shine a light on, and that's why I'm at the forefront of doing this, because I think it's a complex issue that a lot of people are afraid to write about in the world of sports media. This is mind-boggling. This is unbelievable that a story like this could happen. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that a law like this could actually end up happening. Furthermore, it raises all sorts of issues. And so far, I want to give credit to the state of Tennessee legislature. A lot of times the state of Tennessee legislature is doing all sorts of ridiculous things. And like you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that this actually happened. But this is pretty crazy. This is really ridiculous. Tennessee fired back. A really funny response here. State of Tennessee response. All right, are you ready for a funny response if you haven't seen this already? Whereas California has passed legislation banning state-sponsored travel to Tennessee and certain other states, and whereas the ban stems from legislation enacted by Tennessee that allows counselors to refer patients to other counselors who can better meet their goal, which the California state legislature has judged to be morally reprehensible. This is actual statement from the Tennessee legislature that I'm reading from right now. Whereas California's attempt to influence public policy in our state is akin to Tennessee expressing its disapproval of California's exorbitant taxes, spiraling budget deficits, runaway social welfare programs, and rampant illegal immigration. And this is an amazing response from the state of Tennessee. And whereas Tennessee is pleasantly surprised that California will not be sending its economic development teams to Tennessee to recruit our businesses, but we can still send our teams to recruit their businesses. And this is amazing. Whereas Tennessee is puzzled why California thinks it's a good idea to prohibit its state colleges and universities from participating in athletic competition in Tennessee, March Madness is also in Kansas, Mississippi, and North Carolina. And whereas this type of ban, the result of legitimate disagreements about government policy, is neither persuasive nor productive for either party and will lead to economic warfare among states as one sovereign entity attempts to tell an equally sovereign entity how to conduct its affairs by restricting travel thereto. And whereas, I'm continuing to read, this is an absolute, I don't know how much more one state can own another when Tennessee owned California here is. Whereas the United States Constitution provides for a strong federal government for the common defense, but the 10th Amendment grants the several states sovereignty in addressing issues solely within their jurisdiction, and all states should respect this most basic precept of American government. And whereas if states such as California persist in banning travel to certain other states as a punitive action for disagreeing with the policy of those states, the states affected by these travel bans may be forced to take reciprocal action. Amazing response from the state of Tennessee. But while this is a funny response and an ownership, and California is dead because of the hot fire just brought to bear by Tennessee, it's actually a scary precedent. Because what this does potentially is it sets up what happened in North Carolina, except makes it go nationwide. You guys remember, I talked a lot about the transgender bathroom law in North Carolina. Not because I fucking care what bathroom people use, but because I thought it was emblematic of the difficulties that we now face as a country. Let me explain. The reason why the conflict in North Carolina arose, which ultimately ended up costing Charlotte the NBA All-Star game and the ACC title game, was because people in Charlotte, North Carolina, liberal politicians, decided, you know what we need to do? We need to protect the right of people to go to the bathroom of their choice in Charlotte. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? What has happened that has made transgender bathroom use a danger? In 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and into the 2000 teens, in my experience, you know how we decided what bathroom people used? What you fucking look like. If you look like a girl, you went in the girl's bathroom. If you look like a boy, you went in the boy's bathroom. We didn't have Crocodile Dundee standing outside the bathroom doing dick checks or vagina checks to see whether or not people could go in the right bathroom, right? You just went in the one that you looked like. So there's no controversy. There's zero issue. There's no one out there unable to go to the bathroom. There aren't transgender people just dying because their bladders explode because they can't go to the bathroom, all right? There's not people lying around rolling in the streets being beaten for going into a bathroom by people that people don't want them to go to, okay? 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2000 teens, we managed to handle this absolutely perfectly. And then what happens? A bunch of liberal politicians in Charlotte decide that the way they can guarantee they're going to get elected in future years is to turn this into an issue. And so they pass a law, a regulation in their municipality to allow people to use whatever bathroom they want, not mentioning the fact that they already had that right. It's important to reiterate rights that people always have now, already have to score political points. Then the state of North Carolina legislature, which is more conservative, sees this and says, wait a minute. What if people start going in the bathrooms dressed in different sexes so they can rape people? Now, this is a bad argument, all right? I don't think there's a lot of people who want to commit rape that they're like, you know, instead of just raping somebody, I'm going to get dressed up as the opposite sex. And if I'm a guy, I'm going to dress up like a girl, and I'm going to go rape somebody in the bathroom. Nah, not really happening, you know? I don't think that's the way that rape works, right? I don't think that your average rapist is like, I was going to commit a rape, but then I was like, you know what, it's too hard to go into the women's bathroom if I'm not dressed as a woman. And then I thought, oh my God, this new law gives me the opportunity in Charlotte. Now I can get dressed as a woman and go rape somebody in the bathroom. I don't think that the reason why rape occurs was because, or does not occur, because of the way that people use public bathrooms. Just tossing it out there. Not a good argument. But the response is, on the right wing, we have to score political points here too, promote truth, justice, decency, the conservative values of the people who elected us. And so they pass a law to cancel out the Charlotte law, and that turns into a huge mess, right? Everything falls apart. Charlotte, in the ultimate irony, loses the All-Star game for the NBA and the ACC title game because its citizens were too liberal. They were trying too hard to be inclusive, so hard, in fact, that they end up losing, which is an ultimate irony. The NBA takes the All-Star game away from Charlotte when Charlotte created this issue by trying to be too inclusive to begin with. It's an amazing situation when you really break it down. And then they took away the ACC title game. Meanwhile, the NBA plays games in Mexico, which has an abhorrent record of lesbian, gay, transgender rights. The NBA also plays games in China, which has an abhorrent lesbian, gay, transgender rights issue. It makes no sense. It's hypocritical. It's total bullshit. They are grandstanding for no reason whatsoever. And as a result, that's what's happening in California too. I feel like we're going to end up in this same situation because California bans travel to all these different states. You know where they don't ban travel? Saudi Arabia, Syria, Iraq, Iran. All these other countries do not have travel bans for tax purposes. Moreover, and this is what's really wild, moreover, it doesn't make constitutional sense. It doesn't pass muster. And the argument that I made that I think really sums it up is Sam Bam Cunningham went down in 1970 to Alabama and played on USC's team at a time when civil rights was at question, at a time when still SEC teams were not integrated. And you know what he did? He fucking ran all over Bear Bryant's team. And at the end of the day, the great quote is, that guy did more in 60 minutes to integrate Alabama athletics than Martin Luther King did in 20 years. Because you know what? People want to fucking win. They want to win sports. And if a black guy can help them win, they're all for it, okay? And so what my argument is, you don't change hearts and minds by withdrawing from the conversation. That's what pussies do. The state of California is behaving like pussies, all right? If you believe that you're in the right, that the marketplace of ideas will support one day your version of the world, then you don't run and hide and take your ball and go home and refuse to interact with people that you disagree with. You go into those states and you make the argument for why they should be more like you. And you use your business success and your state's success to argue what politicians everywhere should be doing is emulating you. What you certainly do not do is try to get people who are living in a sovereign state that is not your own to change the laws because you disapprove by it. If you live in these states and you feel like that legislation is not constitutional, then you can challenge it in all 8 of those states. And if it goes to the Supreme Court and they agree with you, guess what? The federal law will reflect the view that you want to exist. What you will never do, I don't believe, is convince people in a sovereign jurisdiction that because you disagree with them, they should change it. You actually, when you make those statements, actually make it more likely that they're not going to change anything, because then it's like they're kowtowing to you. The number one way to get representatives, senators, governors, and citizens of a state to not change a law is to rip them for the fact that they passed the law to begin with. All I know is California is full of shit, and they should get absolutely destroyed over this. And the show is going on a long time today, but I want to encourage you guys to do this. If you have enjoyed this show at all, and I know many of you have, share it with your friends, and also go subscribe to my morning show. We had Doug Adler on. He was fired by ESPN for the use of the word guerrilla, as in guerrilla warfare, as in guerrilla effect. Had a heart attack, nearly died. I think it's an incredible story. It is an incredible story about the impact of social media and how we all oftentimes will believe the worst about someone as opposed to believing the best. He nearly died over the social media opprobrium that rained down upon him. ESPN fired him. He cannot make a living now in the world of sports because he described Venus Williams charging the net as guerrilla effect. Not gorilla the animal, guerrilla effect. You need to go listen to the interview that we had with him on Outkick the Coverage today. It was extraordinary. I also tweeted it out. If you haven't listened to that, then you need to. Keep in mind, I am the truth. ESPN is telling you lies. I am telling you the truth. Share Outkick. Fight back against false media narratives that are being sold. ESPN, if you want to believe them, that's fine. They hired Hank Williams Jr. That proves they're not a liberal organization. They're going to have him sing "Are You Ready for Some Football" for 2 minutes, 15 straight weeks. That 100% cancels out all the far left liberalism that they now espouse on a daily basis. That's the argument they're making. They are telling you that the reason you believe they're liberal is because people like me are lying to you, because people like me are being paid money to say this. I'm telling you straight up, straightforwardly, the only way I make money is by being as honest as I possibly can. That's how my audience grows. That's what I do. I am Clay Travis, the most fearless man in sports media, maybe the most fearless man in media, period. DBAT, motherfuckers. Don't be a pussy. I will see you guys tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern on Fox Sports Radio. Kisses.